BigCountryPreps.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is the countdown to two-a-days series. Our daily look at an area football team and the key questions we'll be answering about that team in our August 20th preseason preview here at Big Country Preps. I'm with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom, and tonight, Dan, we're talking about the San Saba Armadillos.
Yeah, and this is a San Saba team that has a lot of reason for optimism this year. They're returning 24 of their 32 lettermen from last year's team, including eight starters on both sides of the ball. And this was a team that made the playoffs last year, won 6 games. So a lot to be excited about just looking at this group on paper. And unlike a lot of their peers this year, they've got a coach in Andrea Aguirre who's been there for a while. So they're not going to have to deal with any of the growing pains of a coaching change or anything like that. This is a group that I know that he's been excited about since it's come up from JV and the potential it has. So this could be a special year if everything comes together for this Armadillos team. But they will have some questions to answer if they hope to reach that potential, and we'll talk about a few of those here in just a little bit.
All right, before we start talking about San Saba, we want to remind you folks to please hit the subscribe button at YouTube. It's free. And then after that, please hit that little bell and you'll receive notifications each time that Big Country Preps posts a video on YouTube. All right, and with that, it's time to start talking about San Saba football and the questions that we may have about this football team. Dan, what is your first question?
I think the first one I have is just how big a step forward can this group make with the experience that they return? This is a team that, like I said, returns eight starters on both sides of the football, 24 lettermen back, which is just a huge number for a Class 2A program. And this was a team that was young last year. They took a big step forward last year in terms of getting back to the playoffs, getting back to a winning record, kind of back to where they were before they took just a little bit of a dip just with some numbers issues. But this is a group that I think they've had a lot of confidence in. They've been excited about. Is this a year where they can, with so much talent back and with the experience gained last year, take a big step forward? And I think if things go right, I think they can. I mean, the one thing you always have to talk about with a program this size is health and depth. There aren't many 2A programs that can survive a whole lot of injuries. But if they stay relatively healthy and these guys just take the natural step forward that you would expect, I think it could be a pretty special season.
My question is about size. This is not the biggest team around. I know they've got a lot of experience coming back. They weren't very big last year and they had a respectable season, and now they're more experienced. But the law of physics is there. So my question is, how can they overcome this lack of size? A lot of teams are going to be a little bit bigger than them, or a lot bigger than them. So I mean, if you want to make a deep playoff run, I know this, and football never changes. You have got to stop the run. So how can they overcome this lack of size and consistently stop the run, especially when they start playing upper tier teams? If they want to have a significant impact, both in terms of winning their district and making a deep playoff run, they're going to have to stop the run consistently. And if they do that, how are they going to do that? Because this isn't the biggest team. So that's my question about that. I'm not saying they can't do it, but they must do it.
hmm and the one good thing in that regard is we've seen them do that before last year. Four of their five offensive linemen this year started last year, so they will have some experience up front, and that kind of leads into the last question where they have one big time weapon and a big time just a big time playmaker that helps them overcome some things offensively, and that's quarterback Luke Tharp, who last year was a breakout star for them. He just not only a really solid passer for what they do, had almost 800 yards and eight touchdowns. He is an incredible runner from that quarterback position. Ran for almost 2,000 yards last year. Was the area's leading rusher for much of the season. So that's a big time weapon to have that defenses have to account for at all times. So I guess if there's supposed to be a question in there somewhere. My question is what kind of step forward is he going to take? We saw what he did last year as just a sophomore. You would expect with the experience gained for him to be improved as well. Maybe how much will we see maybe the passing efficiency improve this year? Because as a runner, he's already as good a dual threat or running threat from that quarterback position as you'll see at the small school level. So I think there are probably a lot of people really excited about him in San Sab, and it's going to be fun to see his progression this year.
And we were talking about stopping the run. One of the key cogs in that will be Jason Everett, linebacker. He's one of the most active linebackers in the big country, 5'9", 180 pounds. You know, again, small, but a great athlete. But he'll be a key member of that group coming back, and he's only a junior.
Yeah, they've got some good. Those junior and senior classes are supplying a whole lot of talent, and it's going to be fun to watch those guys work together this year.
All right, we're going to be taking a look at San Saba's schedule for 2025. But before we do that, we need to thank a few of our sponsors. Beginning with For the Love of the Game Broadcasting and our old friend Terry Slavens, owner of K-Lakes 93.5 FM out of Brackenridge, 97.7 FM KATX out of Eastland, Classic Country AM 1330 out of Graham, 94.7 FM KWKQ out of Graham, KROO 1430 AM out of Breck, and KWBY 98.5 FM out of Ranger. That is For the Love of the Game Broadcasting. Also, Rob Durham, sales consultant at Bayer Chevrolet Buick Cadillac up in Breckenridge. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or a used vehicle, call Rob. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet. Give him a shout at 254-559-2266. That's Rob Durham up at Bayer Chevrolet Buick Cadillac in Breckenridge. And finally, Cavalry Resources and Construction, located up in Breckenridge, serving the entire big country, offering custom standing seam roofing made on location and all commercial roofing applications. Give Kobe Walker a shout at 254-246-5546. That is Cavalry Resources and Construction in Breckenridge. All right, and it's time to take a look at San Saba's schedule for 2025. They will open at San Angelo Grape Creek on August 29th. A home date with the Junction Eagles on September 5th is the lone home game for San Saba in non-district. This is followed by 3 straight road games at Goldthwaite, their arch rival, always a fun one, on the 12th of September. The 19th of September, Katy St. John on the road, and then at Hamilton, a tough way to finish the non-district portion on September the 26th, and that should be an entertaining ball game. That again on the road.
Yeah, a really competitive non-district schedule there to get them ready for their league play, which will open October 10th after an October 3rd open date. They host Johnson City to kick off district play before hosting Thorndale the following week on October 17th. They go to Harper on October 24th, host Holland on the 31st of October, and then wrap up their district schedule at Mason on November 7th. So there's the schedule for San Saba. It looks like a pretty tough deal. The one good thing for them is with all those road dates in non-district, they get 3 of the 5 district games at home, so that's a positive.
All right, game of the year for San Saba. How do you see it?
This is kind of a tough one because it kind of depends on how big of a step forward San Saba takes this year. I think looking at it to me that there's 2. I would say 2. That's the October 17th game at home against Thorndale, and then the regular season finale at Mason. I think those 2 games will likely decide the district championship, or at least whether San Saba will be in that discussion this year. So.
Well, if San Saba wants to win the district championship, and I think they believe they can this year, all roads lead to Mason, in my
Mhm.
opinion. If you're going to, the district championship, the road always leads through Mason. If you want to win the title, you're going to have to beat the Punchers. So to me, that's going to be the most important game on their schedule if the district championship is the goal.
Yeah, I agree. And last year, you look at it, Mason was the lone district champion. Then you had San Saba, Thorndale, Holland, all there tied at 3-2. So this is a competitive district, but I think that Mason game, if you want to win a district championship, they've kind of been the gold standard in that district. You got to topple them. So I would agree with you there.
All right, and with that, it's about time to wrap up this edition of the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, the San Saba Armadillos. But before we do that, we want to remind you that August 20th is the big day here at Big Country Preps. That's the day that we release our annual preseason preview for area football. It is the most comprehensive look at Big Country football and the surrounding area of any media source in the Big Country or statewide for that matter. Don't forget, previews for all the teams that we cover, player features, more than 40 of them. We'll have opinion pieces, columns. We'll have predictions. We'll have stats. We'll have standings. You name it, we're going to have it. It's the biggest and best preview in the area. Don't miss it.
In the
August 20th.
meantime, yes, yes. In the meantime, thank you for joining us for this episode of our Countdown to Two-A-Days series. And make sure you come back tomorrow when we move up to the Class 3A ranks with the Cahoma Bulldogs here at BigCountryPreps.com.